Welcome back, my awakened witness. They're not sleeping anymore. Not really. Even when their eyes close, their minds race, calculating, analyzing, desperately, trying to determine exactly what you know, exactly how much you've uncovered, exactly what truths you've accessed that they spent years keeping buried. Because something shifted, something changed, something in your eyes, your energy, your presence tells them that you're not operating from the same information anymore, that you've crossed threshold, that you've accessed knowledge, that you've discovered truths they never wanted exposed, and that knowledge terrifies them, not because it's dangerous to you, because it's dangerous to them, not because it threatens your position, because it threatens their entire construction, not because it harms your standing, because it exposes their foundation. The architects have been documenting this phenomenon. They call it knowledge terror. When those who've built empires on hidden truths realize someone has accessed the information, someone has uncovered the secrets, someone has discovered the mechanisms they thought were permanently concealed. You've become that someone, not through hacking, not through spying, not through any dramatic infiltration. You became it through observation, through pattern recognition, through connecting dots they never imagined anyone would connect. You saw what they thought was invisible, understood what they believed was incomprehensible, decoded what they assumed was permanently encrypted, and now you know. Not speculation, not theory, not suspicion, but actual knowledge, verified understanding, confirmed truth about how things actually work, about who actually controls what, about what's actually happening behind the narratives they carefully construct. This knowledge is power, real power, the kind that doesn't need announcement, doesn't require demonstration, doesn't demand validation, because truth is its own authority, knowledge is its own weapon, understanding is its own leverage. They can feel it every time you're in the room, every time they're in your presence, every time they encounter your energy. You're not the same. You don't react the same. You don't engage the same. You don't participate the same. Because you see through it now, through the performance, through the construction, through the carefully maintained illusion. And seeing through illusion is permanent transformation. Once you see how the trick works, you can't unsee it. Once you understand the mechanism, you can't ununderstand it. Once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. They understand this. They recognize that whatever you've learned can't be unlearned. Whatever you've discovered can't be undiscovered. Whatever you've accessed can't be unaccessed. So they're losing sleep, trying to calculate damage, attempting to determine exposure, seeking to understand scope of what you know, of what you've uncovered, of what you now understand, about their systems, about their methods, about their carefully guarded secrets that aren't secret anymore to you. And if they're not secret to you, they might not stay secret from others. If you've uncovered them, others might too. If you've connected the dots, the pattern might become visible to more. This possibility keeps them awake. This potential creates anxiety. This probability generates fear because their entire structure depends on information asymmetry, on knowing things others don't, on understanding mechanisms others can't see, on controlling truths others don't access. But you accessed them. You uncovered them. You now know them. And that knowledge transformed you. From participant in their system to observer of their system. From player in their game to someone who sees the game. From person they could control to presence they can't. Because you know too much about them, about their methods, about their secrets. And knowledge is power. They can't take back, can't eliminate, can't control. Once you have it, it's yours forever. Watch their behavior around you now. How they measure words more carefully. How they calculate statements more precisely. How they control information more tightly. When you're present, when you're listening, when you're observing. This isn't paranoia on their part. It's strategic adjustment. Because they've recognized you're not receiving information the same way anymore, not processing narratives the same way, not accepting explanations the same way. You're decoding, analyzing, cross-referencing against the truth you now understand, against the knowledge you now possess, against the framework you now operate from. The architects call this informed observation, when someone who understands the real mechanisms watches the performance, when someone who knows the truth observes the narrative, when someone who's accessed the hidden framework witnesses the public construction. You're engaging in informed observation now, and it's obvious to those being observed. They can feel the difference between someone who believes and someone who knows better, between someone who accepts and someone who understands the game, between someone who participates unknowingly and someone who observes knowingly. You shifted categories from believer to knower, from acceptor to understander, from unknowing participant to knowing observer. This shift is permanent, irreversible, absolute, and they recognize it in how you respond, in what you question, in what you no longer accept without verification. You're not hostile. That would be easier to manage. You're not confrontational. That would be simpler to handle. You're just informed. And informed is most dangerous category, because informed people can't be gaslit, can't be manipulated through information control, can't be directed through narrative management. They know too much, understand too completely, see too clearly. You've become ungovernable, not through rebellion, through knowledge, not through resistance, through understanding, not through opposition, through seeing clearly what they do, how they do it, why they do it. This clarity is threat to their control, to their narrative, to their carefully constructed reality that depends on others not seeing, not understanding, not knowing what you now know. The architects document that most people never reach this level of understanding. Most remain in the matrix of narratives. Most continue accepting the constructed reality. Most never access the hidden truths. But you did, through combination of observation, pattern recognition, and perhaps some information that reached you through channels they didn't control, through mechanisms they didn't monitor, through pathways they didn't guard. Now you possess what they tried to keep hidden, understand what they meant to keep mysterious, know what they intended to keep secret, and that possession, understanding, knowledge is permanent, can't be taken back, can't be erased, can't be eliminated. They can't make you unknow, can't make you ununderstand, can't make you unsee what you've learned, what you've discovered, what you now comprehend about their systems, about their methods, about their secrets. So they adjust around you, measure around you, calculate around you, hoping to minimize damage, hoping to control exposure, hoping to limit spread of knowledge you possess, of understanding you've gained, of truths you've accessed that they never wanted anyone to access, but you did, and now they're losing sleep over what you might do with what you know, with what you understand, with what you've uncovered about them, about their operations, about their hidden truths that aren't hidden from you anymore. Now they're attempting damage assessment, trying to determine scope, seeking to understand depth of your knowledge, of your understanding, of what you've actually uncovered. But this assessment is nearly impossible, because you're not revealing what you know, not demonstrating your understanding, not displaying your knowledge. You're just operating from it, silently, strategically, observationally. The architects call this knowledge opacity, when someone possesses understanding but doesn't reveal extent, when someone has information but doesn't display scope, when someone knows truths but doesn't advertise depth. You're practicing knowledge opacity perfectly. They ask questions designed to probe. You give answers that reveal nothing. They create scenarios meant to test. You respond in ways that confirm nothing. They attempt conversations that would expose. You engage without showing your hand. This opacity is strategic brilliance, because their anxiety comes not from what they know you know, but from what they don't know, not from confirmed understanding, but from potential scope, not from revealed knowledge, but from possible depth. The unknown is more terrifying than the known. Potential exposure is more anxiety-inducing than confirmed revelation. Possible scope is more disturbing than demonstrated extent. You understand this, so you maintain opacity. Keep them uncertain. Leave them calculating about what you actually understand, about what you really know, about what you've truly uncovered. This uncertainty keeps them defensive, keeps them adjusting, keeps them careful around you, around what they say, around what they reveal, because they can't risk saying something that confirms what you might already know. Can't risk revealing something that connects dots you might have already connected. Can't risk exposing something that validates understanding you might have already achieved. So they're maximally careful, maximally guarded, maximally controlled, which ironically reveals more, because maximum guardedness indicates maximum concern. Maximum control suggests maximum fear. Maximum caution confirms maximum stakes. You're reading this too, using their behavior, using their caution, using their guardedness as additional data that confirms your understanding, that validates your knowledge, that verifies your uncovered truths. They're trapped. If they behave normally, they risk exposure. If they behave carefully, they confirm significance. If they address it directly, they reveal concern. If they ignore it completely, they seem unaware. Every option has problems. Every approach has risks. Every strategy has vulnerabilities because they're responding to threat they can't quantify, to knowledge they can't measure, to understanding they can't assess. The architects observe this as perfect strategic positioning. You're not attacking, you're just knowing, not confronting. You're just understanding, not exposing. You're just observing. From position of knowledge, from foundation of understanding, from framework of truth that they can't eliminate, can't counter, can't control, because you're not doing anything. You're just being. Someone who knows, someone who understands, someone who sees clearly what they do, how they operate, what they're hiding, and that state of being, that condition of knowing, that position of understanding, is threat they can't neutralize, problem they can't solve, reality they must adapt to. Because you know, and knowing can't be unknown. Once you cross that threshold, you never return to unknowing. You remain forever in knowing about them, about their methods, about their secrets that keep them awake at night, wondering what you'll do with what. Something's spreading now, beyond their immediate concern about you, beyond their direct anxiety over your knowledge, beyond their specific fear of what you've uncovered. Others are noticing, others are watching, others are learning from how you carry yourself, from how you observe, from how you engage differently. The architects call this knowledge contagion, when one person's access to hidden truth makes others curious about that truth. When one individual's shifted perspective makes others question their own. When one presence is informed, observation inspires others toward their own investigation. You're creating knowledge contagion, not through teaching, through demonstration, not through revealing, through embodying, not through explaining, through existing as someone who knows. Others see the difference in you, notice the shift in your energy, recognize the change in your engagement, and they wonder, what do you know? What have you discovered? What have you accessed that changed you so fundamentally, that shifted you so completely, that transformed you so obviously? These questions are dangerous to those keeping secrets, to those maintaining narratives, to those controlling information, because questions lead to investigation. Investigation leads to discovery. Discovery leads to knowledge that they wanted to keep hidden. You're inspiring investigation without trying, without teaching, without revealing what you know, just by being someone who obviously knows something, by existing as someone who clearly understands differently. by operating as someone who evidently sees through what others still believe. This inspiration is multiplying. One person asks questions, discovers truths, embodies change. Then others notice them, wonder what they know, begin their own investigation, and the cycle continues. Expanding, multiplying, spreading. Knowledge that was supposed to stay hidden, understanding that was meant to stay restricted, truth that was intended to stay secret, is spreading because you accessed it, and your access inspires others, and their access inspires more. And the architects who tried to keep secrets are watching their information control unravel, not through massive exposure, through distributed awakening, not through single revelation, through multiplied discovery, not through one person telling, through many people finding out for themselves, through their own investigation, through their own discovery, through their own pattern recognition. The architects, observing this phenomenon, recognize it as their nightmare scenario. Not dramatic exposure they could manage, but organic awakening they can't control. Not centralized revelation they could counter, but distributed discovery they can't contain. Not single source they could discredit, but multiple finders they can't dismiss. You started this, not intentionally perhaps, but effectively regardless, by accessing knowledge, by embodying understanding, by demonstrating that truth is accessible to those who observe carefully, to those who think critically, to those who connect patterns systematically. Others are learning this is possible, that hidden truths can be uncovered, that secret mechanisms can be understood, that controlled information can be accessed through observation, through analysis, through pattern recognition. You proved it by doing it, by knowing what you know, by understanding what you understand, by seeing what you see, and your proof is inspiring. Others to try, others to investigate, others to discover their own access to hidden truths that those losing sleep never wanted anyone to find, but you found them, and now others are finding them too. And the architects of secrets are losing more sleep over distributed awakening. They can't stop, can't control, can't contain, because knowledge, once accessed, spreads through inspiration, through example, through demonstration. That truth is accessible to those who seek it carefully, critically, systematically, like you did. The architects are analyzing the specific mechanism of your discovery, how you accessed knowledge that was supposed to stay hidden, how you uncovered truths that were carefully concealed, how you understood systems that were intentionally obscured, and their identifying pattern. You didn't find single source. You synthesized multiple observations. You didn't discover one revelation. You connected many small pieces. You didn't access complete truth. You assembled partial truths into coherent understanding. This synthesis is what made your knowledge dangerous. This connection is what made your understanding threatening. This assembly is what made your insight powerful, because those hiding secrets protect against single-source exposure. They guard against dramatic revelation. They defend against complete leaks, but they can't protect against synthesis of publicly available information, connection of seemingly unrelated observations, assembly of patterns across multiple sources. You engaged in open-source intelligence, using only information accessible to anyone, connecting only dots visible to everyone, synthesizing only pieces available to all. But you did it systematically. You did it carefully. You did it with pattern recognition that most people don't employ. You noticed inconsistencies between what they said and what they did, between official narrative and observable reality, between public claims and visible outcomes. You tracked patterns of who benefits from what, of which narratives serve whose interests, of what information gets amplified versus suppressed. You connected timelines of when things happened, of what preceded what, of which events related to which outcomes. This systematic analysis, this careful observation, This methodical synthesis, it revealed truths that individual pieces never would have, that isolated observations never could have, that single sources never might have. The architects recognized this as distributed truth assembly, when hidden reality becomes visible through synthesis of available information, when secret mechanisms become understandable through pattern recognition across sources, when controlled truth becomes accessible through systematic connections of public data. You mastered this approach, whether through training or intuition, whether through study or natural capability, whether through conscious method or unconscious pattern recognition. The result is same. You know what they wanted hidden, understand what they meant to obscure, see what they intended to keep secret, through synthesis, through connection, through assembly of information they couldn't hide because it was publicly available. But they assumed no one would connect, no one would synthesize, no one would assemble into coherent understanding that reveals what they do, how they do it, why they do it. You proved that assumption wrong, and now others are learning your method, are employing your approach, are engaging in their own distributed truth assembly that reveals more hidden truths, that exposes more secret mechanisms, that uncovers more controlled information through synthesis, through connection, through assembly of what's publicly visible to those who look systematically, think critically, connect patterns carefully. The architects of secrets are recognizing their vulnerability not to leaks, but to synthesis, not to whistleblowers, but to pattern recognizers, not to single exposure, but to distributed assembly of publicly available information that reveals, when connected, when synthesized, when assembled, what they wanted, hidden, what you now know, what others are learning to discover for themselves through methods you demonstrated by knowing what you know. Now they're attempting counter strategies, trying to obscure patterns you've recognized, seeking to complicate synthesis you've achieved, attempting to muddy clarity you've gained. But these efforts are failing, actually backfiring, because their attempts to obscure create new patterns. Their efforts to complicate reveal new connections. Their tries to muddy generate new clarity about their desperation, about their concern, about their recognition. That knowledge is out. That understanding is spreading. That truth is becoming accessible. The architects call this counter-revelation effect, when attempts to hide truth after discovery actually reveal more truth, when efforts to obscure understanding actually create more understanding, when tries to complicate synthesis actually enable easier synthesis. You're witnessing this now. Every move they make to address the problem creates more data about the problem. Every strategy they employ to minimize damage reveals more about what's actually damaged. Every tactic they use to control exposure confirms more about what they're trying to control. Their response is confirmation. Their adjustment is verification. Their concern is validation of everything you've uncovered, of everything you now understand, of everything you've synthesized. They're essentially proving your synthesis correct through their response to it, through their adjustment around it, through their obvious concern about it. This confirmation strengthens your position, validates your understanding, verifies your knowledge, not through their admission, through their behavior, not through their acknowledgement, through their actions, not through their revelation, through their reaction. You're collecting this data too, using their response, using their concern, using their counter strategies as additional confirmation that what you've uncovered is accurate, that what you understand correct, that what you know is true. The architects observe this as strategic irony, that those trying to hide truth confirm truth through hiding attempts, that those seeking to obscure understanding reveal understanding through obscuring efforts. that those attempting to minimize knowledge spread. Validate knowledge through minimizing attempts. They're trapped in impossible situation. If they ignore your knowledge, it spreads. If they address your knowledge, they confirm it. If they counter your understanding, they reveal its accuracy. If they accept your synthesis, they validate it. Every option confirms, every approach validates, every strategy verifies what you know, what you understand, what you've uncovered. So their sleepless nights continue. Their anxiety persists. Their concern intensifies because they recognize they're in unwinnable position against knowledge that's already out, against understanding that's already spread, against truth that's already accessed by you, by others you've inspired, by the growing number who are employing your methods, your approach, your synthesis to discover their own access to hidden truths that those losing sleep can no longer keep hidden, can no longer keep controlled, can no longer keep secret, because distributed awakening through distributed synthesis of publicly available information is unstoppable. Once it starts, once you demonstrated it's possible, once others learned your methods, once knowledge began spreading through inspiration, through example, through demonstrated possibility of knowing what they wanted hidden, what you now know, what keeps them awake at night, wondering what comes next. Something profound is crystallizing now, beyond individual knowledge, beyond personal understanding, beyond specific discovery, a collective recognition forming that truth is more accessible than they were told, that hidden information is more discoverable than they believed, that secret mechanisms are more understandable than they assumed. The architects call this mass awakening threshold. When enough individuals access hidden truth, that collective consciousness shifts. When sufficient people understand concealed mechanisms, that cultural awareness transforms. When adequate numbers discover secret information, that social perception changes. You're witnessing this threshold being crossed, not through your action alone, but through ripple effects you initiated, through inspiration you provided, through demonstration you offered. That hidden truth is accessible, that concealed mechanisms are discoverable, that secret information is understandable. Through systematic observation, through careful synthesis, through pattern recognition, others are achieving this now, in growing numbers, with accelerating frequency, across multiple networks. Each person who discovers truth becomes inspiration for others. Each individual who understands mechanisms becomes example for more. Each presence who accesses information becomes demonstration for many. And the effect compounds, exponentially, irreversibly, unstoppably. The architects observe this with concern. Those losing sleep recognize this as their worst scenario. Not controllable exposure, but uncontrollable awakening. Not manageable revelation, but unmanageable discovery. Not stoppable leak, but unstoppable synthesis by distributed individuals using publicly available information. Connecting patterns anyone can see if they look systematically, if they think critically, if they synthesize carefully. You proved this possible. Now thousands are doing it. Now tens of thousands are learning. Now hundreds of thousands are beginning to look, to connect, to synthesize their own understanding, their own knowledge, their own access to truths that were supposed to stay hidden, to mechanisms that were meant to stay secret, to information that was intended to stay controlled. But control is breaking as awakening spreads, as understanding multiplies, as knowledge distributes through inspiration you provided, through example you demonstrated, through proof you offered. That truth is accessible to those who seek it, to those who look carefully, to those who connect systematically. The architects recognize this is unstoppable now. This passed critical threshold, this achieved escape velocity from their control, from their narrative management, from their information restriction, because you can't stop. Distributed awakening can't contain multiple simultaneous discoveries, can't control thousands of independent synthesizers, each finding truth, each understanding mechanisms, each accessing information through their own investigation, through their own observation, through their own synthesis, inspired by possibility you proved, method you demonstrated, success you achieved, in uncovering what they wanted hidden, in understanding what they meant secret, in accessing what they intended controlled. You started cascade, that became avalanche, that became unstoppable force of distributed truth discovery that keeps growing, keeps spreading, keeps waking more people to reality, behind narratives, to mechanisms, behind systems, to truth, behind controlled information. And those who built empires on information control are losing more than sleep. They're losing control itself as awakening spreads, as understanding multiplies, as knowledge distributes beyond their ability to manage, to contain, to stop, because you proved it's possible to know what they wanted hidden. And now, everyone who looks systematically, carefully, critically, can discover what you discovered, what you know, what keeps them awake, realizing control is ending. The architects are documenting the transformation of power dynamics, how knowledge shift is creating structural change, how understanding spread is generating systemic transformation, how truth access is producing fundamental reorganization of who has power, of who maintains control, of who directs narrative. The shift is measurable. Those who controlled through information advantage are losing ground. Those who managed through narrative control are losing effectiveness. Those who directed through knowledge restriction are losing authority. Because information advantage requires others not having information. Narrative control requires others believing narrative. Knowledge restriction requires others not accessing knowledge. But you've accessed knowledge. Others are accessing it too. Growing numbers understand what was hidden, what was secret, what was controlled. This access is eliminating information advantage, narrative control, knowledge restriction. That power was built on. The architects call this power inversion, when knowledge spreads enough that information controllers lose control, when understanding distributes enough that narrative managers lose management, when truth accesses enough that knowledge restrictors lose restriction. You're witnessing power inversion now. Those who had power through secrecy, losing it through exposure. Those who maintained control through information, losing it through distribution. Those who directed through restriction, losing it through access. This inversion is accelerating as more people know, as more people understand, as more people access truth that was hidden, mechanisms that were secret, information that was controlled. The old power structures are adapting, attempting new strategies, seeking new approaches, but adaptation is difficult when your power was built on what people don't know, and now they know. What people don't understand, and now they understand. What people can't access, and now they can access. Your foundation is eroded. Your structure is compromised. Your control is eliminated by knowledge spread, by understanding distribution, by pursue access that you can't reverse, can't eliminate, can't control. Because knowledge doesn't disappear. Understanding doesn't vanish. Truth doesn't become unknown. Once enough people have it, once sufficient numbers possess it, once adequate distribution achieves it, it's permanent, irreversible, unstoppable. The architects confirm power inversion is complete. In process, irreversible. Those who controlled are losing control. Those who directed are losing direction. Those who managed are losing management, not through revolution, through revelation, not through uprising, through understanding, not through conflict, through knowledge that you helped distribute, that you helped spread, that you helped make accessible, through your discovery, through your synthesis, through your demonstration. That hidden truth can be found, can be understood, can be accessed by anyone who looks carefully, thinks critically, synthesizes systematically. You didn't just discover truth. You democratized discovery. Didn't just access knowledge. You demonstrated access method. Didn't just understand mechanisms. You inspired understanding in others, in growing numbers, in accelerating spread that transformed, power dynamics that eliminated, information advantage that ended, control through secrecy, because secrecy ended when you discovered what was hidden, when you understood what was secret, when you accessed what was controlled and taught others, through demonstration, through inspiration, through proof that they could too, could discover, could understand, could access what keeps those who had power awake, realizing their power is ending through knowledge spread that they can't stop.